Welcome to Project Grownup. This is a bi-weekly podcast about conquering the phenomenon known as adulthood through hard work, discussion, and most importantly, a lot of laughs. We hope you'll be a part of this project with us. I'm Amy, here with my co-host Danielle
Hey, hey.
and Alex.
Hello, hello.
This week on Project Grownup, we're talking to the owner and founder of Ryan's Coffee House and the biggest coffee enthusiast that I know, Ryan Lose. Ryan is originally from Ohio and recently moved with his wife and two boys down to Florida, just like Alex and I. 3 boys? All right.
You got your hands full.
Today's rough. All right, Ryan is originally from Ohio and recently moved with his wife and 3 boys down to Florida, just like Alex and I. Apparently, great minds think alike. Another thing that we share in common is that Ryan works a 9 to 5 while using his spare time to pursue his passions through various side hustles. Ryan's biggest passion, which is slowly but surely turning into his main career, is his coffee company, Ryan's Coffee House. Ryan is in the process of getting his very own mobile coffee shop off the ground, or better yet, on the road, and is sure to be successful. Ryan Lose, welcome to the show.
Oh, hello, and thanks for having me.
So, when did you realize that you wanted to give back to the world by bringing people together with coffee?
I'd have to say, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to pinpoint the exact moment, even though I don't think you were asking for the exact moment. Sorry, but I wouldn't be able to pinpoint it because it's just been a slow process over time. That's just slowly built up and became bigger and bigger than what it was. Originally it started with just me and my one friend just having coffee, going to his house, or him coming to my house and having coffee, and we would just chit chat and hang out. And then when I moved from the apartment to our house back in Ohio, the same thing happened with me and a couple of my neighbors. We would just meet up every Sunday or Saturday morning and have coffee, and that's how we would start our day. And we'd start like building this little bond of having coffee together. And it got to the point where I just started inviting other people over because I really enjoyed what was happening. And just being awake and having coffee and talking about probably like the week's troubles. I did a lot of listening. I let him talk, but we would just talk about like all the issues that happened at work, or issues just around the community, or things that happened in our lives that were good or bad, or this, that, and the other. And then I would even invite other people over just to see if they wanted to come over and join this little coffee club, if you want to call it that. A couple people did eventually show up and join us for coffee, but it started there. And at the same time, when that started building, I think we moved to that place in 2013 is when we moved into that house. So I didn't actually start thinking about opening my own coffee shop until probably 2018. I think I started really looking into it. I think that's right when I really started getting into like Gary Vee and being my own entrepreneur and this, that, and the other. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know what I could do to be my own entrepreneur. I don't have a whole lot of skills, I guess. I don't know why I had that air quote skill. I think to have like your own business, you have to have some sort of skill. And I didn't have a whole lot. I just went to school for like chemical engineering. I can't really start my own chemical company. That's way too advanced.
That's a big skill, though. Let me just put that in there. Most people can't do that.
Yeah, it's a skill, sure, but it's not like something I could parlay into my own business. Is what I guess I'm trying to get at. So I didn't have like a skill at the time. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, what I wanted to go out and start my own business as. And then I started when I started thinking about coffee, and I was like, okay, well. I started really looking into it and noticed that the city that I was in, there was no coffee. So then I started looking at like the radius from my town to the nearest coffee shop was probably 3.5, 4 miles, maybe 5 miles to get to the nearest coffee shop. Since I moved down to Florida, let me parlay it down to Florida. There's no coffee down here in Florida, but up where I lived, there was coffee on top of coffee in most cities. Mm-hmm. So one city over, you would have in a 1/4 mile radius, you'd have 3 Starbucks and another just local coffee shop. So there was just coffee on top of coffee everywhere. But in my little area, there was no coffee. So that's when I was like, wait, I might be able to bring coffee into this town and do it that way. So that's when I started really looking into building a business as far as like building my own coffee company or opening a coffee shop. I took that and started looking into it. And I also like the fact of giving back to my own community. So I just wanted to be like a small local shop, right? I'll be able to give back to the local community. And I really liked helping out with the sports programs because my kids did sports. So I was always helping, donating, coaching, doing what I could to do that. So I was like, if I open my own business, and I'll be even do more for the kids in the community. So because the kids are our future. Just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, so that's why I wanted to do that.
Well, it sounds like you have your hands full. You've got kids, the coffee shop. I see you drinking coffee now. We are recording in the morning. What kind of coffee are you drinking?
Oh, you could be recording at any time and I'll be drinking coffee. It doesn't have to be the morning.
Constantly caffeinated.
Yes. This is a cold brew
Okay.
with sugar-free caramel, salted caramel syrup, and a little bit of like creamer in it.
Oh
So
my
it's just a
gosh.
little bit of creamer.
That sounds
really good.
delicious. I was gonna go get coffee before this, but it's raining outside. Like I don't want to make the venture out into the rain yet. I'll wait for it to stop.
Well, that's why you got to get a cold brew pitcher, and it's just always on hand at all times. It's so good.
I got a coffee from Starbucks because it was the only thing open.
Oh, Starbucks isn't
The local
too bad.
place across the street was closed, so I had no other option.
We
So
don't
you're
want to
current-
trash talk Starbucks too much.
Right. Let's not lose that potential future sponsor. Hey, Starbucks.
I don't mind Starbucks. Starbucks is good. I mean, you have to really put into perspective what Starbucks did for the coffee, just coffee in general.
That's
it
true.
really blew it up and put it on the map. It made it what it is. You know, I mean, before people were, and I don't want to also bash Folgers or Maxwell House or anything like that, but that was like your go-to. That was like the top echelon of coffee. If you really think about it. But people still think like the big coffee can of pre-ground, like with the chemicals to keep it fresh, is good coffee. It's not. If you guys drink that, it's not good. It's not good coffee.
So Brian, what are you doing to your coffee that makes it good coffee? Because I mean, what you just described in your glass sounds amazing. What are you doing? I hear you also have 2 blends. So tell us a little bit of the actual process that you know goes on behind the scenes.
For my coffee, I try to get into roasting my own coffee because I don't roast my own coffee. I wanted to do my own coffee shop, right? I wanted to make coffee for people. So, but I also wanted to look into roasting my own coffee, but that's a whole process that takes years and years and years and years to learn. So I had to go with a private label for my own coffee beans. I like air quotes. I don't know why that needed to be air quoted, but I had to go. So I went with a private label for my coffee beans, which you'll see a lot of companies will do. I mean, there are some that will roast their own coffee, which is good on them because that in itself is a skill. But the thing that I look for is when I try to find a company that I want to work with who's going to roast my coffee, and then I'm going to use that in my coffee drinks that I make later, is the process and how they source the beans. If they're organic, these technically are organic. I just didn't pay for the organic label on it. I do want the organic beans. I want them, what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's sourced nicely.
Ethically sourced.
Ethically sourced. Thank you. Ethically sourced, and they have to be good. So one of the things I look at as soon as I get the beans is when you open them up, you will find some beans that look really oily. And that's usually a process when they've overcooked them. So that could be like a super, super dark roast. And at that point, it kind of tastes like burnt. I don't want to bash Starbucks, but you can go to any grocery store, grab a bag of Starbucks beans, open them up, and they're going to be really oily. It doesn't matter which roast it is. So that's like the first thing you could notice. But these beans are fresh. They're not oily. They're roasted to perfection, and they're delicious. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and go with them for my private labeling, so we can go ahead and use those in my coffee shop and be able to make good tasting, ethically sourced, organic coffee.
So speaking of the coffee shop, I know you're currently working on getting the coffee truck on the road. Alex and I are actually both currently living around the Tampa Bay area. So when can we expect to come by the truck for a cup of coffee?
I'm hoping, because I think I have all my paperwork is done. I have the permit. So all I really have to do is just find a spot and open up shop, I guess. I think I'm good. I could start selling at any point in time. The reason why I haven't done so is technically right now we are in the process of also buying a home. So we're doing a new build, and that should close at the end of May. At the same time, in June, the lease of our van is up, and we're going to switch over to a truck so I can haul the trailer. So right now I don't have any way of hauling the trailer or the mobile unit, as I like to call it. I can't really take it anywhere yet, and I can't like turn the lease in early and get a truck now, because then it'll affect us getting a home. So I got to wait to get the house and then get the truck, and then we're good to go. So that's what's stopping me, is the truck.
Yeah, I feel like in my life right now, there's a lot of hurdles too. And the best thing you have to do is just take them one at a time. And at the end, it will end up working out exactly how it's supposed to. So it sounds like you've got your hurdles lined up and you're going over one at a time, getting to that end goal.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I look at it. I mean, I would have loved to have been able to put the trailer out 2 or 3 months ago, but in the end, it just wasn't realistic, because it might have hurt other hurdles, my future hurdles. So I just had to go, what's important? Let's line them up. Is it really important to open up shop 2 months early? No. What's important is to make sure we get the house first, and then we can go ahead and get the truck, and then we can go ahead and open up, and then everything after that is good to go.
Easy peasy after that.
Yeah. So come June, July, this summer, you guys can come down, get some cold beer, because in the summer in Florida, I don't think you want hot coffee. I mean, I'll drink hot coffee just because I'm freezing all the time. Florida isn't warm enough for me, which is crazy. I'm constantly cold. It's a medical condition, as I like to tell people.
You do work a full-time job, is that correct?
Yes, I do work a normal day job. I originally started working on night shift. I like night shift because I don't need a whole lot of sleep. I could run on like 4 hours. So night shift is like perfect for me. So I can go ahead and get all my work done when everyone else is sleeping, come home, get like a 4-hour nap in, and then I'm good when the boys get home from school. And then it's as if I was never gone, is what essentially it feels like. Wow. For at least for the kids. I took some promotions at the job, and now I'm on days, which isn't horrible, but the traffic in Florida.
In Tampa, yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Like I'm working in Bradenton.
Okay.
So I'm south, but taking 75 north from like University until the Ellington exit is atrocious. It's so bad. And no one knows what it is about that bridge that goes over the Manatee River. But it's like dead stop traffic. As soon as you get over that bridge, it's clear. It's just I call it the magic bridge. It's stop traffic, and as soon as you cross over it, then you're back driving 85 miles an hour. I mean, 70. I don't speed. But yeah, so that's my normal job. So I work that during the day, and then when I come home, then I try to get all my other coffee stuff done while keeping the house in order, helping the wife with dinner, or helping the kids with homework, and trying to do all that stuff as well. So that's why I only need like 4 hours. So it really works for me, because I need to stay up late anyways.
So I know you talk about your boys a lot, and like, for example, trying to help your son get his Twitch account up and running. What is the most important thing that you hope to teach your sons?
I think work ethic, hard work. I guess those go hand in hand. That's what I want to teach them, because that's a really good question. Because I think at the same time as I'm hoping to be able to teach them that, I'm also nervous that because I work hard and do all these things and try to give them the best life, that in the back of my head, I'm like, oh crap, what if I'm giving them too good of a life and now they're just gonna be lazy? I was like, should I go ahead and just quit my job and we all just like struggle right now? Teach them that, so I'm hoping that they do see that working hard has its benefits and its rewards. I always just ask them, like, what is it that they want out of life? What is it that they want to do? And then try to explain to them that, okay, well, if this is what you want, this is the path that you want to go down, then, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I mean, they're starting to learn it. I don't want to put too much on their plates, because I mean, one's 13, one's 9, and one's 6. So you got the moody teenager right now. So that one's just difficult. But the 9 and 6-year-old, they're starting to catch on, and they're starting to build up a work ethic.
I was going to ask, is it true that children that are boys end up being harder when they're younger than easier as they get older, or is that a lie?
I don't know what it would be. See, is it harder? I don't know if raising boys isn't hard.
Okay.
I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think when that phrase is about like young, like little girls, they're a little bit more calmer when they're younger,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and they're a little bit more easier going. They could just sit there and be quiet. Boys are constantly running and screaming and jumping, and they don't stop. They do
Exactly.
not stop. My youngest, I think he takes after me. He does not need sleep. He does not stop. He will be full go until 12 o'clock at night, until we have to like force him to go to sleep. He's full go, and then he is up at 6 o'clock in the morning. First one up, full go again. Like he'll just pop up and be like, okay, it's morning, let's go. And then he's going. He doesn't stop from like 6 to midnight.
That's
So,
exactly how our little guy is. He's just nonstop energy. There's never any silence, never any
Yeah.
break. He's just ready to go, and he's just always excited about everything.
yeah. So I think that's what it is. I think when they get a little bit older, I don't know if they calm down, but they're a little bit sneakier about their activities, I guess I would say. They're still being crazy. They're just not being loud and crazy in front of you. They're going somewhere else to be loud and crazy.
Okay.
Um,
Fair.
All right. So speaking of the boys, we did an episode titled "Do You Know Slang?" And then I realized the other day that I saw on your website your sons wanted to get on the entrepreneurial side of things, and they came up with 2 youth T-shirts. I did
Yes.
appreciate that 15% of the sales were going to the local homeless community, but one shirt says "sus" and the other one said "that's cap." So, do you know any slang terms that people don't understand? Like, for example, I always say "I reckon," and nobody knows what I'm talking about.
I reckon. I mean, I think I've used that before. I don't even know if I can define it. That's kind of like maybe like a half agreement.
Yeah, it's like, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Do
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
any?
Sure. I think I would say yeah, sure, or sure. But yeah, I reckon. Yeah, I reckon.
There you go.
Can you do this for me? Yeah, I reckon. Sure. Whatever. Yeah. I was like, I know I've used it and I've heard it before. It's hard for me to completely define it. Do I know all the hip hop and slang words? I think I know some of them. I think the sus one was from the astronaut movie, the astronaut game, the astronaut movie, the astronaut game. What's it called? Among Us. See, I'm hip.
I don't even know what that is.
Me
I'm
either.
reading this Seuss, so don't ask me.
Yeah, it's just about kids being not kids, but in the game, it's you're trying to guess who the killer is or who the imposter is. So some of them might be sus.
Suspect.
Oh, that actually sounds like
Sus
a really
or
interesting game.
Yeah, I was
suspicious.
gonna say I want to play this game now.
And then that's cap. Cap means to lie, right? Cap means to lie. So a lot of the kids might say no cap. So it's like you ask them a question and they say a statement and then they go cap and you're like, no cap, bro. You know, they see how hip I am.
So basically, whenever I'm confused, I'm going to hit you up and be like, can you please ask your sons what this means?
Yeah, I could possibly do that. So yeah, I know some of the slang. I like to use the slang in a very dad way, like as if it's like really, really rigid and doesn't flow, because then it just makes the kids more embarrassed and then they stop using it.
Exactly.
So then I can understand what they're saying. I'm like, yo, bro, that's cap.
So when you're not talking coffee, you're really interested in sports cards, NFTs, comic books, Power Rangers right now. For people who don't know about Money Twitter or Gary Vee, could you kind of describe the community and how he has made an impact on your life and other people's lives?
Gary Vee in general, he is more of a motivator to me because a lot of the things before I met Gary Vee, before I found Gary Vee, I had the same philosophies and I had the same thoughts. Gary Vee being as big as he is and saying the same things that I've always said just reinforced that what I was doing was correct. So that's why I liked him, because I was like, okay, this is a guy that has done everything that I've thought about or how I think of things and put it into play and has done this. He then also introduces people to other aspects, not just, he's not narrow focus onto wine per se. He has many interests and introduces other people to those other interests. And the one thing that he said was, I think he had a tweet about my 12-year-old self would be so happy with what I'm doing right now. And that dawned on me and I was like, wait a second. I forgot I have adult money now. So I could do things that I wanted to do when I was 10, 11, 12, but now I could do them at scale. And that's when I went crazy with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because I was like, this is what I really liked. And 10-year-old Ryan would be super excited because now I have adult money. I can go ahead and do that stuff.
I
So
love
that's why
that
I
adult
went into
money.
that.
Yeah, I
That's
love
why
that answer.
that's why I went into that. And the other thing is when I was talking to my one friend, Gage, on Twitter, Gage and Rob on Twitter, Gage pointed out that the Power Rangers have very low pop on graded cards. Pop is population for how many cards have been graded of that set series or whatever. So I was like, well, I already like these cards and I wanted to collect them anyways, but now maybe I'll really start collecting them, get them graded, and then if they ever blow up, I'll have the majority of the population. So it's all supply and demand at that point. So I just got to create the demand because I have the supply.
So Ryan, as we wrap up, we want to give you about 30 seconds to plug yourself. Let us know where listeners can find you, what you have going on, what we may have missed during this interview.
As of right now, the big thing that I'm working on is just my website, which is ryanscoffeehouse.com. And there you could follow my journey, my adventure into coffee ownership, coffee entrepreneurship. Right now, we're just selling a few things online, trying to gain some momentum, build up our newsletter, and get our community grown. That's the big thing right now, is building a community more or less than making money. I don't need the money right now. I have a regular job. I would like to eventually quit the job, but that's years down the road. It's not a big deal for me. Right now, it's just trying to get community involvement, build a community, and get engagement within the community. That is my main focus. So if anyone wants to go and join the newsletter, it's ryanscoffeehouse.com. Check it out. The other thing is I'm pretty heavy on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Lose, LOSE_Ryan. I hate Instagram, so my wife handles the Instagram. I just don't like Instagram at all. That one is Ryans_coffee_house for the coffee house one. You get some cool coffee house pictures or coffee pictures and some coffee memes and stuff like that. And then we got the mobile unit. And like I said, we're trying to scale it up from there. So right now it's just gonna start as a mobile unit. Actually, the mobile unit became about because of COVID. So if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't have moved. I wouldn't have started this business, and none of this would have happened. So actually COVID was the greatest thing to happen. Sorry for everyone else.
Wow.
That it affect negatively. I'm not trying to be like mean and be like, oh,
No.
I'm just saying, like, I turned.
There was some good that came out of it.
Yeah. So I mean, the other thing in the back of my head when that happened is I do know that in the course of history, whenever you had like the Great Depression, that's the best time to start a business. The recession was the best time to start a business, and COVID would have been the best time to start a business. Just because those really low times tend to show you what you're made of.
Before we wrap up, we got to slay that Q&A where we ask our guests some fun rapid-fire questions to end on a light note. So, Ryan, if you were meeting the Queen, first, can you convince her to have coffee instead of tea? If so, what kind of coffee would you serve her?
If I were to meet the Queen, I would serve her really light, because tea is light. So she's probably used to the light flavors and the light caffeine. So I would go with a really light breakfast blend coffee. And even then I would probably cut it with water. Sorry, drug terminology. I would probably cut it with water to make it even less coffee tasting, to introduce her to the coffee.
Which country has the best coffee?
Which country has the best coffee? My wife's gonna love this answer. I would probably, because I'm an espresso drinker, so I like my espresso coffee.
Too.
And the inventors of the espresso machine or espresso-based coffee would be Italy, so I'd have to go with Italy.
Okay, fair.
Well, I always pick on my wife for Italian things, so she's gonna laugh when she hears that answer.
As always, we want to leave you with some words to live by. This week, I'm quoting Ryan himself. He said, "Happiness is my currency."
Join us for new episodes every other week. They'll be coming out Monday, so you can start the week off right as we unravel another chapter of Project Grownup. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and, of course, leave us a 5-star review, please. If you or anyone you know would be great for our PG inspiring stories, send us an email at projgrownup@gmail.com.
Hopefully you found some keys to success in this episode. Cheers to another week of trying to be a grown-up. Cheers, ladies.
Cheers!
Cheers, everyone.